Hello and welcome to WeLearn Virtual Learning Network. This is session number 22, Style and Use of Repetition of Language to Literature. Topics covered in this session are style, and it includes purity, clarity, decorum, ornament, repetition as a rhetorical device, various patterns of repetition. So let us start with the style here. हमने लास्ट सेशन में rhetorical devices का इंट्रोडक्शन लिया कि एक्चुअली rhetorical devices क्या होते हैं, इनका स्ट्रक्चर देखा, कैसे फॉलो अप करना चाहिए एक rhetorical device में. एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रहता है उनका प्रेजेंटेशन, बॉडी लैंग्वेज, जेस्चर्स, और इसके साथ साथ हमने देखा कि एक स्ट्रक्चर में क्या क्या चीज़ें जो इम्पोर्टेंट रहती हैं डालने के लिए, उसमें एक बहुत ही इम्प्रेसिव स्पीच हो या फिर राइटिंग हो, उसके लिए हमें उसे एक प्रॉपर मैनर में वर्जन में एक्सपैंड करना चाहिए, विच इंक्लूड्स इंट्रोडक्शन, नरेशन, प्रोपोजिशन और एक्सपोजिशन, डिविजन ऑफ द टॉपिक, प्रूफ और कंफर्मेशन, रेफ्यूटेशन, कंक्लूजन. So now we are going to, in this session we already discussed the structure. Now, although the structure contributes to clear and effective presentation, it is not sufficient in itself. The style in which the matter is presented is also important. Style may be simply defined as the manner in which things are said or written. The choices that a speaker or writer makes us, as far as elements of language are concerned, words, phrases, clauses, sentence types, etc., constitute the person's style or manner of expression. There has always been a debate between those, you can say, who believe that style and content, that is manner and matter, and expression and content are inseparable, and others who believe the two not to be only separable, but also separately describable. However, now more and more scholars tend to agree that language performs several functions, and that depending on the particular function, that is use or effect one has in mind, one manipulates the element of language. This manipulation of language by a speaker, orator or writer constitute his or her style. तो इस तरीके से हमने ये देखा कि स्टाइल को अगर हम इनसेपरेबल मानते हैं तो वो ऐसा नहीं है. स्टाइल हम सेपरेट कर सकते हैं, बट इट इज़ मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट जो मैनिपुलेशन है लैंग्वेज का, जो एक राइटर, स्पीकर या ऑरेटर करता है, जिस तरीके से बात को प्रेजेंट करता है, वही उसका स्टाइल है. एक लैंग्वेज को आप एक स्टाइल में नहीं बल्कि हज़ारों स्टाइल्स में कर सकते हैं. तो जिस तरीके से आप उसे मैनिपुलेट करते हैं एलिमेंट ऑफ लैंग्वेज को, that is called the style of that person. There is an ancient Indian saying according to which those who know how to speak have no quarrels, just as those who know how to eat have no illness. Ancient Indian grammarians thought that a language or knowledge of grammar gave a person mastery over words or pedacity, which leads to inquiry into meaning, which produced philosophical knowledge, and which culminated in self-realization. A letter, you can say, of the alphabet was called Akshar, that is indestructible. But Bharti Hari in his Vakya Padya talks about the Akshar Lakshmi, the letter that is veritable goddess of peace, plenty and prosperity. Western tradition के accordingly देखें तो we have always put great deal of emphasis on decorum. Decorum पे हमने बहुत importance दी है as a chief element of style. And the other important elements that directly or indirectly contributes to decorum are purity, clarity and ornament. इनको हम इस तरीके से भी present कर सकते हैं. So let us discuss decorum first. Decorum means the quality of appropriateness. In daily life, we always change our tone of voice, our gestures, not to speak of the words to fit an occasion and the person we are talking to. This is So we do not make jokes at a solemn occasion or make a serious speech in our sitting room at home. As the universal rule, said Cicero, in oratory as in life, is to consider propriety. Next thing is that is important, that comes under decorum only, is clarity. Clarity helps intelligibility. Any confusion in expression leads to vagueness and ambiguity, and this the speaker or writer must avoid at all cost. Purity refers to the language. Language of discourse should be correct. It should not have errors of grammar or usage. Ornament provide decoration. It may sometimes give us an impression of superficiality, but neither in life nor in discourse need it always be so. So it is important. The figure of speech, that is the use of words in ways other than their ordinary meaning to make word pictures or comparisons, are in a way counterparts of postures in silent language. Meaning is created and communication made possible not only because words have well-defined meanings like the traffic signs, but also because words have varying shades of meaning that they express only in a discourse in combination with other words. When words are used in discourse, they are at times used in different way and thus arise figure of speech like metaphor, simile, personification, hyperbole, which give force and variety to one's expressions. So such a figure of speech, you can say, constitute ornament or adornment. Now the next topic that we are going to study here is repetition as a rhetorical device. Repetition कैसे एक rhetorical device की तरह काम करता है? You may have noticed that even in ordinary everyday communication हम कई बार चीज़ों को बार बार बोलते हैं क्योंकि हम उनको emphasize करना चाहते हैं. When we wish to lay emphasis on them, हम कई बार उसे बार बार कहते हैं. For instance, अगर देखें कि एक mother कैसे अपने child को बात करती है, Kitty, you must get out of bed early. You must go to the toilet, wash your face, brush your teeth. You must come to the breakfast table on time, and you must be ready for your school bus at 8. So have you noticed the repetition here? आपने यहाँ देखा कितना repetition रहा you must का? It is used by mother to emphasize certain things the daughter has to do. An important part of one's communication is through gestures and quality and loudness and the pitch of one's voice, but the language patterns in the example given above also convey the absolute necessity of doing certain things in time. Apart from emphasis के अलावा हम कई बार words को, expressions को, sentences को repeat करते हैं ताकि वो एक pleasing सा effect दें. जैसे कि यहाँ नर्सरी राइम में आप देखें, अगर Polly put the kettle on, Polly put the kettle on, Polly put the kettle on, we all will have tea. So function of repetition is repetition of the rhythmic patterns. यहाँ पे हमारा function क्या है? Rhythmic patterns, which is a common feature in nursery rhymes. In the case of a long speech, the listener usually finds it difficult to understand the main points if the speaker does not repeat the things which he considers more important than the rest. In the speech on Mahatma Gandhi's death, पंडित नेहरू, जो हमने लास्ट सेशन में भी पढ़ी थी, उन्होंने लाइट वर्ड को 7 times रिपीट किया. अगर आप नोटिफाई करें उसे दोबारा, लाइट यहाँ पर इट स्टैंड्स फॉर गांधी जी. तो as Gandhi ji has gone out of our lives, the light has gone out of our lives, and there is darkness everywhere. And darkness is because of, it's a result of Gandhi ji's death, because the light has gone out. This use of metaphor is part of rhetorical devices in Nehru's speech. Now you can read the passage from the speech made in the British Parliament by Richard Brinsley Sheridan, British dramatist and parliamentarian, on the impeachment of Warren Hastings, the first Governor General of India. So this speech starts like this: in looking round for an object fit to be held out to an oppressed people and to the world as people of national justice. We are forced to fix our eyes on Mr. Hastings. It is he, my lords, who has degraded our fame and blasted our fortunes in the East. It is he who has tyrannized with relentless severity over the devoted natives of those regions. It is he who must atone as a victim for the multiplied calamities he has produced. So this is, you can see, another example of repetition as a rhetorical device. नेक्स्ट थिंग इज वेरियस पैटर्न्स ऑफ रेपिटेशन. और भी क्या क्या पैटर्न्स रहते हैं रेपिटेशन के. Oratorical writings अगर आप देखेंगे, you discover that orators use repetition in a variety of ways. So do literary artists. Let us look at some of the examples. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this pretty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. Shakespeare Macbeth में से ये ली गई है. And in the example you can see the note words tomorrow and have been repeated according to a pattern. So it has been repeated occurring alternatively with some other word. So this is another way to repeat the things. Another example, if I were an American as I am an Englishman, while a foreign troop was landed in my country, I never would lay down my arms. Never, never, never. In the three examples above, never and red have been repeated consecutively. Never have been repeated. You saw that above in a nursery rhyme, whole lines could be repeated. Such repetitions are in fact quite common in serious poetry as well, स्पेशली रिलीजियस पोइट्री. अगर हम देखें T.S. एलियट की ऐश वेंसडे, उसकी कुछ लाइंस मैं आपको बताऊं अगर, तो उसमें भी इस तरीके का रेपिटेशन है. कुछ सीरियस पोइट्रीज में भी इस तरीके का रेपिटेशन रहता है. बिकॉज आई डू नॉट होप टू टर्न अगेन, बिकॉज आई डू नॉट होप, बिकॉज आई डू नॉट होप टू टर्न, बिकॉज डिजायरिंग द man's gift and that man's scope, I no longer strive towards such things. Why should the aged eagle stretch its wings? A repetition of almost a whole line 3 times makes it very effective and emphasizes the poet's resolve not to turn again towards worldly possessions and power. At times, you find that an author repeats the whole sentence but in inverse order. जैसे I love my country I love. Or one may begin and end a sentence with the same word. जैसे कि in the sentence, for the light has shone was no ordinary light. ये वही speech है नेहरू ने जो दी. He used the word light almost at the beginning and the end of the sentence. At times one may begin a sentence with a word with which a previous sentence ends. Like Ramcharitmanas I greatly love I also the novels of Lawrence. In Mahesh Didani's Tara also, Dan says at the end of the play, someday after I die, a stranger will find this recording and play it. The voice is all that will remain. No writing, no masterpiece, only a voice that once belonged to an object like other objects in a cosmos. So have you noticed the effectiveness of the words voice and objects are re-greeted in such a way? Now you can read again the speech made in British Parliament by Richard Brinsley Sheridan 175-1186 and find out the repetition that are used as rhetorical devices. So this is the question I am giving you, but the way you are doing it's very important. The way you are presenting it's very important. ऐसी एक अब्राहम लिंकन की भी स्पीच की अगर हम बात करें जो उन्होंने गेटिसबर्ग एड्रेस में दी, वो भी बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट एग्जाम्पल है जहाँ पर आप इस स्पीच में भी आप अगर ढूंढ पाएँ कि रेपिटेशंस कहाँ कहाँ रही, तो दैट इज़ ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टास्क. So another question I'm giving you, this question I have already given you. Again, read the speech made in the British Parliament by Richard Brinsley-Sheridan and find out the repetition that used as a rhetorical device. And I'm giving you one more passage, and that also you have to find the repetitions. In USA, there was a civil war during the presidency of Abraham Lincoln. One of the battles was fought at Gettysburg, where more than 40,000 people were killed. Some of them were buried there, and Lincoln come to speak. November 19, 1863, at the dedication of the National Cemetery to the memory of the martyrs, the Gettysburg Address, as it is called, is given below. 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedication to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in great civil war, testing whether the nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of the war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men living and dead who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget and what they did here. It is for us the living rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here high resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. So this is being taken from the collected works of Abraham Lincoln in 9 volumes. Rutgers University Press, New Brunswick, New Jersey, volume 7, page number 23. In this passage also you have to find the different repetitions and that I use as a rhetorical device in this passage. That is all for this session by now. That is, thank you. Thanks a lot. Happy learning. We learning.